baby. I'll get those other two uploaded. Everything's signed, so we don't need to sign anything with the closing docs.
I mean, if you have everything, just
Yes.
go ahead and upload it. I'm going to go in and start clearing everything and getting it done.
You're
So I
the
don't have
best.
for doing any of that crap.
Okay. Scanner. There you go.
Send it to me.
I'm sending it to you right now. And my assistant is uploading them as we speak, but I'm just going to, so that you see.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Thank you, Karen. Oh my gosh, I owe you big time. Man. Thank you. Bye. I'm sorry. Oh my God, that one was.
This is the goal though. Like everything that we do, it's always because of the deal. So me and Mark, like how do we, I don't want to speak for you, but we can't object to you closing a deal while we're trying to shoot our podcast.
I'm sorry. This one was, I was preparing to actually have a conversation with the realtors that I haven't had since I can remember the last time I had to decline something, and that was in 2018.
Wow.
And I swore I would never have to have that conversation again. And
you were this close.
I was that close.
Well, she
Man,
they work magic back there, huh?
They do. This was the underwriter.
Did you even think you were going to get to that final number right now? Even right now, even when you're answering a call,
no,
do you think you're going to get to the bottom?
I thought I was 3,000 short. I did, because they came in and I saw their statement and I saw this check, and if I'm like, that's my earnest money, and if she's saying it's a different check, I was like, shit, I'm 3,000 short. If she's not going to give me credit for that check, because I don't have a copy of the check, I just have the bank statement.
Yeah, especially with the date on the check, which is June.
And her statement cut June 21st, and if earnest money was written June 22nd, then I can't count it. So I thought I was short, and I'm like,
right there, you did it. Congratulations,
man.
Those are those days that it feels.
Those are those days that this whole week has just been trying to solve for X, and that's one reason why I'm not thoroughly prepared for today's podcast. But you know what? You're like,
I think we'll be fine.
We're gonna be fine.
I think if I was a stranger, it might be
a
little more difficult. But I think what's going to be hard for us is to focus
shut
on
up
the business
and stop talking after half an hour, because we're going to be like, oh yeah, remember when? We're going to do the remember when quite a bit.
I know. And I was trying to bring Betsy in like half hour ago, right? So we can get that out of the way before we started. And then you had clients. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And I'm texting her. I was like, okay, about 10 minutes. I'm going to wait for the client to walk out. And then I'm going to walk in with them.
That was the sweetest surprise. Like, and I really needed, she's just an amazing human being that I met virtually at first through a TikTok video, and we were messaging each other, and she's on the absolute other side of the continent or the country. Yeah. And I'm over here. So even our time difference was off, but we started to connect, and she's like, I'm flying out there. And I'm like, we got to meet. And we had lunch last year.
It was
over.
And
that was it. And now she's just...
She said y'all are besties. Like literally besties. That y'all talk all the time.
All the time. All the time. Like we talk about... We're not even talking business anymore. It's absolutely a true friendship. Yeah. And we talk about our families. You know, I had a family crisis, and she was one of my first phone calls. While I was driving. I'm like, oh my God, Betsy.
And she's cracking up because when I put her in my contacts, I put her in as Betsy Boo. And then when I sent her my virtual card, for some reason it says Betsy, and I didn't intend for her to see that. And so like right before I'm coming in, she's like, where'd you get Boo from? Like, that's a term of endearment. I said, honestly, my husband's name is Best, and I call him Betsy just to bring him down to earth a little bit. And she was like, oh, okay, so he's Betsy Bear, But then she's Betsy Boo because her name really is
Yeah.
Betsy.
Her name is Betsy, and she really is just so sweet.
And that was my
What a
first time
great,
seeing her face because we just talked on the phone yesterday. We didn't do like a video call or anything or a Zoom. My first time meeting her was on the phone yesterday, and all we did was talk about, obviously what she needs and what she's going through, and
It's a big
what
move.
it is, and what just all the different variables. And I told her we will walk her through all that, just the hypotheticals, right? Because she was also asking what's the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. And then just based on, the pieces that you teach us so we can talk to the client. So I told her, I said, it's just going to be hypotheticals until really what's going on, right? And then each time period is going to produce something specific that's going to give us an answer to the puzzle. It's really just puzzle pieces we'll be putting together.
Yep.
But that we take care of her. So she's excited. I think she's just
was
over there.
a
She has like a dream team right now.
She really does.
Uh-huh.
Such a small world.
It is.
Someone from TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
3,000 miles away. And then she got connected with you from someone in Kansas.
Yes, Kansas City.
That
Kansas
she
City.
met in Las Vegas.
Yes, that I met at Summit.
And then it all circles back to my office,
Yep.
June 27th at 10 o'clock.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, what a small world.
Yeah. And it was so hard for us to keep it a secret from you last night because we wanted to call you. But then I was like, no, I'm going to see her tomorrow. And she's like, well, what if she texts me or calls me back? Because then she says, you texted her to tell her, I had a busy day. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. She was like, no problem. Right?
Yeah.
And
And
I was
I'm
like,
like,
she texted
she
me
said
this morning.
something about the universe, like the universe at its work again. And I thought she had forgot to send a picture or a message. And I'm like, did I miss something?
This was the picture and the message. Me.
This was
and
it.
then I don't know if you saw my post yesterday. I took a picture of a legal pad with nothing written on it. And the comment was, how many real estate professionals can relate? These are my notes after a conversation with the client. There's no notes on there because the conversation was just so good. We talked about what she's looking for, but we just talked about so many other things. So when I come back to my notepad, there's nothing on it. There's nothing on it.
Okay, I hope you wrote something down because my memory would be like the next morning. What did we talk about? What was that?
4-bedroom, 3-bath. 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah,
That's the
very,
only
very
thing that was
standard.
important.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that was important.
And now for her, it's going to be a view.
Yes.
Some sort of view of the Catalina Mountains. Yeah. And some like desert wildlife. But
something good.
I'm going to do an introduction and we'll cut this in the beginning. So I'm going to do this in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
My name is Jamie Booth, and this is My Favorite Mortgage Podcast. Today we have an amazing guest with us, someone who's near and dear to my heart, and not just a fabulous realtor in Southern Arizona, but my dear friend. So, Michelle Ihabaro.
Hi, my queen.
Welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming.
And the relationship, I think, is what will make this easy.
Yeah.
But,
I think
we're naturals.
We've already recorded a half an hour worth of stuff beforehand. So, Mark, you're going to have to put that in the beginning. But Michelle and I have known each other from your baby infancy.
My baby infancy 6 years ago.
Yes.
Was when I came into the industry.
Yep. I had a meeting there. I met you and you were just doing all your paperwork, getting everything finalized. And then we hit the ground running. And over the years, we've developed this friendship and this trust where, it's not just business. It's personal. And we've gone through some stuff together. And I can't thank you enough for your friendship, especially during some hard times for me.
Yeah.
I lost my parents for COVID, and then, I struggled with some family stuff, and I absolutely thank you from the bottom of my heart
my queen.
for being there for me.
You're welcome, always.
No questions asked. You were just a support and a sounding board that I needed at the right time.
I feel the same way because I feel like there's things that we talk about that I just can't talk to other people about, right? And just relating. And because we've been friends for so long, I think we understand how, one, we do business, right?
Right.
In general, how we do business together is a whole nother concept. And just what our lives involve. Like, you know so much about all the other pieces of my life besides real estate,
Right.
and I know so many of the other pieces of your life besides mortgage. Right? It's truly a friendship, and to the point too where you do my personal stuff too when it
Yeah.
comes to properties and stuff. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, 6 years already. Can you
Gosh, I
believe it?
can't believe that.
Nice.
Yeah. So I brought you on. We had prepped a little bit about, talking about Airbnbs. I know you've ventured into that realm in a little, branch of real estate with Airbnbs. You have a couple now.
Yes.
And I wanted to just share with the audience, give us some insight. We like to do behind the curtains, give us the good, the bad, the ugly of being an Airbnb host.
Ooh.
And share as much as you want, share as little as you want, share the link of what to, where to
Yeah.
come book some Airbnbs. But I don't have any experience in that. So I'm fascinated to hear what you have to share with us today.
I don't know where the fascination came from, because I had never stayed at an Airbnb before I was interested in Airbnbs. What brought it close to home was a client that I met. I was showing her properties at a townhouse complex, right?
Okay.
I think it was the Winter Haven townhomes.
Okay.
And we were looking at property, and when I met her, she's an older lady, right? But super spunky, so knowledgeable, and just on it. Like,
Right.
she knows what she's looking for, everything. She knew exactly what she liked, what she didn't. She can walk into a property and walk back out. And
Within
then
a minute,
a
she's
second,
like, yes,
she knows,
no, yes,
yep,
no.
she knows
Nice.
exactly what it is, right? So when we're as a real estate professional, we're asking the client, what do you need the property for? Who's moving in? And all those questions.
Yeah.
And she's explaining to me that she's an Airbnb superhost.
Ooh.
And I'm
She
like,
wears a cape.
yes. I was like, what is that? I said, you have Airbnb? She goes, yeah, I'm buying my next one. I have one over here. I have one over here. And I'm like, oh, okay. But then also, like, then we're also talking about the money, right? Because
Right.
as a real estate professional, I need to know where these funds are coming from.
Gotcha. She was paying
She was paying cash. She was
Yeah.
paying cash for them. So this is the game, and it's not a game, but this is the piece in my life that I'm trying to learn is the money game, really, for lack of better words, right? So it's about finding where the money's coming from and making that money, turning that money into soldiers that are working for you.
While you sleep, you're making money.
While you sleep, and people know that as passive income.
Right.
Yes, of course, but passive income is this big. Passive
Correct.
income comes from just so many different
It
places.
just means money coming in that you had put into place to just keep coming in.
to do what it needed to do. So this was money that she pulled out from her Apple stock. So she was able to buy all her properties through she had stock in Apple back in the day when they first started.
her.
And solo, this is just her, though she is a married woman, it's
Right.
her solo buy, obviously the husband would sign whatever, but this is all her stuff.
For community property
Yeah.
state,
Yes.
you'll have to sign something.
Yeah, so she's and the cool thing was too that he was never part of the decision. Like, this was like really her.
It was like a project for her.
It was a project
her work,
for her. She
and
loved it, and
he supported her.
He supported her.
Great
He
husband.
he has his own job. She had her own cleaning crew. She had her people come in. She was managing the profiles on Airbnb. And as we got to know each other and I helped her buy her next property, I obviously learned more, right? Because then she talked to me about how she furnishes these properties.
Okay, let's
Such a
elaborate
big
on
deal.
that.
So she would explain to me how she would go to the estate sales and get furniture from there, or she would go to the
Nice.
girls' estate sale on Kolb.
Okay,
So everything thrifted and secondhand.
saves her a ton of money.
So the only thing you're buying new, and I know this kind of sounds crazy and can kind of be like is the stuff that's touching your body. For example,
Like a
like
bed.
the sheets, the mattress,
Gotcha.
the
Towel.
kitchen stuff, the towels.
Okay.
Right? So
Well, that's good to know. Staying at one of her places, at least that won't
Yes.
be thrifted.
yeah, it's yes. And the thing too is that like you're not picking up the piece of crap at the thrift store. You're picking the nicest piece at the thrift store.
Yeah, and I
Does
think
that
that's
make
probably why she
sense?
does the estate sales, because
Yeah.
someone has maybe passed away, and you can get first dibs of some really nice stuff
Yes.
for
And then
a pretty good price.
if you think about it too, I remember talking to another agent too, and she does interior design, and she goes to Facebook Marketplace to buy stuff,
Done
but
that.
she goes up to like Casa Grande and Scottsdale and Tempe versus like Facebook Facebook Marketplace in Tucson. So it's just really talking to other people that are doing similar things to you and seeing if they'll share their resources with you. So when it came down to buying the pieces for the property, most of the things that we purchased were secondhand. There were things that we couldn't kind of find the way we wanted to, so
Right,
we went
right.
on Amazon.
So maybe the couches, maybe a nice accent table,
The
some
lamps. Yeah.
pictures, everything would be
Yes.
thrifted. Well,
Yes.
that's one,
art.
reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah, the
So
table,
keep from the environment.
the TVs were new because what do we? I want to make sure I'm not going
Are you
through
worried
electronic
that
failure.
people would steal that kind of stuff from your
No,
No?
no,
You got insurance? So-
wasn't worried about it at all. One because we bought our Airbnbs as an LLC, so you have to make sure that you are presenting yourself as a business. This isn't Michelle and Besta's Airbnb.
Right. The business is
This is
is
the
a business.
business's
Nice.
Airbnb, right? So making sure that the business structure is right is important, and so everything is thrifted. The other things that and there is insurance, right? So we have insurance obviously through the business, but then Airbnb has its own Airbnb insurance. So if someone damages something at our properties, we put in a claim through and then Airbnb tries to fix that, right? And
Gotcha.
my first.
So it's being doubly insured.
It is doubly insured, but
Good.
my first tenant, it was a nightmare. The dog ripped a hole in my couch. The cat had nails and it like clawed my leather
Okay,
couch.
so you allowed people in your Airbnb with a cat?
Listen, when you do not allow pets in your Airbnbs, unfortunately, you don't get booked as often. The one
Good
thing
to know.
The one thing about Airbnbs that differ from hotels is that there's some people that have outgrown a hotel space. Me and my family of 6 can't go stay at a hotel. I need
Gotcha.
a unit.
Yeah.
I need a property.
You would have to
And I
book
got-
3 hotel rooms. Gotcha.
or at least 2 that connect. And now they can't guarantee when you
The
do ask for
connecting.
the connecting
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So when you're in a situation like that, you're dealing with families, you're dealing with people that can't stay at a hotel for whatever reason, and a lot of the reason is because of the pet.
Gotcha.
So when you don't
Gotcha.
allow the pet to stay, you won't
You're
get booked as
limiting.
often.
Okay. Understood.
You're limiting an audience.
Yeah.
So it's about putting a pet policy in place in your Airbnb profile, depositing monies for pet cleanup, right? Like
Good.
you don't clean
Good.
up your dog poop, I'm gonna charge you for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if the cleaning, and then the cleaning fee is a certain fee because if you stay there 3 days, it's going to take my cleaning lady maybe a few hours. But if you stayed a whole month, my cleaning lady is going to be there for a minute.
A day or two.
Yeah. So it's anticipating what those costs are going to be,
Right,
and
right.
preparing your Airbnb profile in a way where that's going to reflect that and you're making money.
Nice. So, guys, if you're interested in any way to get started or you have any questions on, what do those fees look like, please reach out to
Yeah.
myfavemortgage@gmail.com. I will absolutely share Michelle's information. I'll get you guys connected.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea how to talk on this is what it's going to take. So I'm so grateful that you came in because people ask all the time, I
Yeah.
want to buy another home and then move out in a few years. Can I turn that one into an Airbnb?
Absolutely.
I'm like, sure, but I have
Yes.
no idea what that entails.
And there's certain factors that come to that. So as a real estate professional, I don't know where I learned this, but though I'm supposed to be helping people buy and sell, when someone's calling me about selling their house,
Right.
that might not be what they need.
Maybe they
like they
can
might
turn it.
want to turn it into, right, an investment
And you have
property.
experience with that to talk on it.
Exactly. And then the thing is too, when I'm helping a client buy their first house, for example,
Right.
they sometimes don't understand that that's not their forever home.
Right.
So it's
They get
hard for them
stuck.
to pick.
Yeah.
And what I say to them is, I am not just, and again, I'm not trying to sell you 20 million properties, but my goal is not to just sell you one.
One
My,
and done. No.
and then when I do sell you the second one, I don't want to sell the first one. I want to help you keep the first one so you can turn that into passive income.
Nice.
So my goal isn't always to get the seller to sell
Right.
or
right.
the buyer to have me sell their first property when they buy their second.
You want to show them what kind of money-making potential does that first house have. That is brilliant.
Because
Good for you.
real estate is about an investment,
Yes.
right? And though it's an investment when you're living in it, I feel like it's my responsibility to show you how to make more money
Yeah.
off of that investment, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that
Rinse and repeat. You just keep doing that. Buy, live in it in 2
Yeah.
years, buy something else. Live in it in a few years,
Yeah.
buy something else.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
just keep either upgrading or downsizing, whatever your family requires. I moved every time I was pregnant because I needed to move into a bigger space, right? Like it's just funny, right? So I have 4 kids. I didn't buy 4 times, but people move at certain times in life for whether it's a
Oh, you
life
have to do.
event. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
moving up, they have more kids, the kids left the house is too big, whatever the case is, right? So
Yeah.
can we keep one of those properties and create some income
Passive
for you?
income. Brilliant.
One thing too that I want to mention is when I was looking into this, and Miss Diane, that's my client's name. When she was teaching me about this, we were looking at like condos, townhouses, right? You know,
Right.
the co-ops are kind of weird because you can't really do stuff like that in
Right.
co-ops.
Right.
Townhouses are a little different from condos, and I like that setup because in some of these communities you have all the amenities. The pool, the spa, the gym, right? So you
yeah.
would think that ideally that's a great Airbnb.
Right.
But if for any, and this is my opinion, if for any reason the hotel industry came crashing down on Airbnb concept, the same way that Yellow Cab in New York City can come crashing down on the Uber and Lyft concept for cabs, you have to always prepare for that.
Right.
And that was a big deal because when I first looked into Airbnbs, I wanted a townhouse or a condo because of the amenities. But then when I learned, and again, you have to adjust as you're learning these pieces. When I learned that the hotel industry was upset with the Airbnb, I said,
yeah.
this might crash.
Yeah.
So-
and that's the talk. I've heard,
Yeah.
videos and newspaper articles about, there's been towns here in this state that have banned short-term rentals.
And they can only do that in communities like that. Anything that is regulated by an HOA. So again, if I would have bought a property when I first came into the game, I would have made a mistake because I would have been looking at the wrong type of property.
Gotcha.
Okay. Right now, I would never go into anything that has an HOA or anything that's regulated.
Nice.
I'm not buying any single family residence that has an HOA. I'm not.
Because they can. And they can change it in the matter of just one meeting. And then
Yes.
you bought this property.
Yes, and it's over.
And you're done.
And then the other thing you want to think about, the only thing that is going to help you not make that mistake, even if you make the mistake, is the way you run the numbers.
Okay.
So when you're thinking Airbnb, you're thinking, how much can I make
Right.
if I'm charging $99 a night or whatever?
Okay. $100 a night, 30 days, average in a month.
Whatever.
$3,000.
Right?
Is that the right math?
Something like that. Right?
My brain is
But are you making profit off that
after
$3,000?
the fees, after
Yeah.
the cleaning, after homeowners insurance,
Yep.
after buying the furnishings.
Yep.
Are you actually making money?
So you
when
have to
push
think
comes to
about
shove?
that.
So you have to do some sort of breakdown budget. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm all about budgets.
A breakdown and a budget, but then running the numbers to see if it's going to be profitable.
Gotcha.
So one thing that happens is that the people run the simulation off of the profits they're going to make off Airbnb. That's great, but that's all. That number is this sounds crazy. That number is also a lie. What if you don't get bookings the whole 30 days?
Right.
What if someone books for 2 days and the rest of your month you're empty? So you have to think about that. And let's say that something happens with your Airbnb that you have to turn it into a rental, a long-term rental.
Long-term rental. Yeah.
Right? So think about that, right?
Like
or
an
if
HOA
you're
decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or exactly. So when you're running these numbers of what you think your profits are going to be, listen to me. If you haven't listened to anything this whole 20 minutes, however, this is the you take your notebook out.
Let's see.
Okay. You have to run the numbers off of basic comparable rent.
So would you help someone who wants to buy a house do that?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yes, I would. But they have to have clear understanding that
Yes.
the numbers have to make sense off of $1,200 rent or $1,300 rent or $1,400 rent.
You still have to factor in, if you don't have the cash, let's face it, most people don't, you got to also have a mortgage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we can do for
Yes.
short-term rentals. It is still an investment property.
So
but,
you want
yeah.
another insider info on
All right,
that?
we got like 5 minutes. So let's give some insider, because we didn't even get to play games this time.
So the insider info on that is where we're going back to the type of property. So right now, my husband and I have a single family residence, and we also have a triplex.
Okay, smart.
I tell you, by the grace of God, got super, super lucky because in the first of all, the single family residence was empty and had just finished being completely renovated. So that was a bonus. The triplex sits in the lot next to the single family residence. So at some point we'll turn that into a big
Nice.
courtyard, right? And
Got it.
mesh the parcels, whatever. But what was good for us was that the lady in the front unit, first of all, she was a hot mess. She would cuss us out every time we pulled up.
Shit.
She ended up leaving one night in the middle of the night, which you would think, oh my God, thank the Lord. Thank God that she left in the middle of the night, because she was about to ruin my Airbnb business is what was about to happen.
Oh,
The guy in the back tried to skimp out on rent one time because he thought that the new owners didn't know how much the rent was. So he's gone. The lady in the middle never said a peep.
mm-hmm.
Never.
Okay.
And she even told the lady in the front to just calm down and relax. Long story short, the lady in the middle unit has lived there for 20 years,
Okay.
raised her family there, did not complain about the rent increase because they've been paying below rent for a
Right.
long time.
Okay.
And we got lucky because the lady in the middle is the only resident that we did keep long term. She's also a cleaning lady. So we got lucky.
Yeah.
So she is our long-term resident that covers most of our mortgage,
Nice.
right? But the cool thing is too that we also employ her to
Right.
clean our property,
Which is
so
going to
that
help her pay the rent.
so that she can
Yeah.
pay her rent, right? So it's still,
It's kind of like free.
it is
Really?
full circle because she didn't
Yeah.
want to leave. We even offered to renovate her unit because she'd been there so long,
Right.
and she was like, "Nope."
She
Don't-
was good. Don't
She was
mess with
good.
stuff.
Yeah, she's like,
I'm
just just
settled.
teach it, and just don't touch. No problem.
Well,
The moment
you
you're
lucked
ready,
out.
we did.
Yeah.
And we told her
It was payment for the other two nightmares. And you're like, you know what? That karma's like, let's give her a break with this one.
Yeah, yep. So we definitely got lucky. So when you're thinking about Airbnbs, figure out where that property is. Think about what comparable rent is going for already,
And Michelle will help you
Yeah.
with all of that.
yeah, and run your simulated numbers off of that comparable rent. If you want info, you want to ask me questions, you have a piece that you're stuck at, there's a little piece of the puzzle you need, I'm always just an open book and ready to answer
Thank
any
you.
of it. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah.
You're
Well, thank
welcome.
you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome,
I
my
don't know if
queen.
I'm still motivated yet to handle that. Mortgage keeps me busy, and
Yeah.
and it's been, it's been some challenging times this
Oh
year.
yeah.
And I'm anticipating a much better year. Like, I just want to finish out this year. And, this podcast is about mortgage, and, it's my favorite mortgage. But I would say this last month, man, has put me to the test.
I know, but and it's hard because it's It's hard to see the silver lining with tough deals like
It's
that.
just, come on, give
But
us a break already.
I know, but I just love too that, oh my God, I know this sounds crazy, but I love that we have problems to complain about. Like some people wish they had the problems,
Yes, you're right. I
so
gotta
it's,
remember that.
and
Okay.
I know, but that's what we do for each other, right? It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
thank God that I have a freaking a deal that I'm trying to
Yeah.
close, right?
Yeah.
Like some people wish that they had some of those headaches, and it's so hard to just stay positive. Like
Yeah.
even yesterday, I felt like I was in a video game. I was like, can the game be over? Like I'm done. I'm done playing. I'm
You
done
know what
playing.
it is? The government finally said that there's aliens.
Yeah, really?
Right?
Fine, great. Let's
Finally.
meet them now.
Okay, you know what? It doesn't surprise us anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they were. I think I saw someone making a parody about it. Like, the government's like, okay, everyone, aliens do exist. And then the guy's like, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's like, we
Keep
thought
scrolling.
you'd be more excited.
No.
He's like, nothing surprised me anymore.
No, nothing either. Even and
I don't know if I still am like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Even the stuff that happened yesterday with the did you see the?
oh God. Yes.
Do we even want to bring it up?
What?
With the Twitter, did you see that he took the bird off and put a big old X as the favicon?
Oh.
Yeah, like and it's funny because I'm teaching class yesterday. I'm talking about social media, and one of the agents was like, "Well, yeah, the big." I'm like, "What are you?" So, and I go. I'm in the middle of the class because I'm sharing my screen on a Zoom, and here we go. I clicked on Twitter, and there was a big old X on
So
there.
the bird's gone.
The bird is gone only on the favicon. The favicon
I
is
have no idea what that is.
a favicon is the picture that you see up on the URL that shows you what the URL is. So for on Twitter, it's the bird is the favicon. On Facebook, the circle, the logo's usually the favicon. But in this situation, he still has the bird when you go to Twitter, but the logo changed to the X.
Interesting.
Yeah.
More power to him. You know what? It's Elon Musk.
I know.
He can spend money and do whatever the hell he
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
Go to space, crash the internet, make cars fly. I don't know.
something.
All right. I usually play some games, but we could just chit chat and I'll have you back on, 6 months from now when our schedules match.
I love it. Yeah. So for sure.
I didn't really have any, like I said, this week's been kind of tough. So let's see. I usually do smash or pass.
What is that?
Smash or pass is yes or no, or I'll handle it or forget it. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm not even going to do mortgage. I'm just going to off the top of my head. So bear with me, guys. Okay.
Nelly.
Ready?
I think so.
Smash or pass. Oh shit. You have a client that only has a pre-qualification letter from one of the big mortgage companies online. Smash or pass?
I'm smashing, but I'm going to ask them to acquire a second opinion.
There you
I'm
go.
smashing. Definitely smashing.
Yeah. It's always good to have a second opinion. And when you're in a competing, you want a local lender.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to pick up the phone on a Saturday.
Let me tell you something. I know that the episode is over, but that was one thing that you taught me was just one, always being available. Two, the relationship that the importance of the relationship, one, between the lender and the agent, right? Because I know I can call you at 7 for a pre-qual or to talk to, and you will. And that's what I explain to clients as a difference, one, between working with a financial partner you have a relationship with and one you don't. For example, a bank or a credit union or just a random big brokerage online lender that you really don't, you're just going with the name. And you always taught me that to just always be available for the client. And another thing that you've always taught me that I carry with me always till this day is that assumptive close, right? Just really the client wants us to take care of them.
Right.
They want to know that we're going to guide them. They are okay with asking questions and answering
Right.
questions, but they also want you to grab their hand and bring
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Bring them. And the assumptive close that you
Yes.
taught me helps me
Years
with that.
ago, I live by it. And all it is, guys, if you want to know what we mean by that, is you can cut a conversation in half when you're talking to a prospect by assuming an answer of yes.
Yes.
So instead of saying, "Are you willing to talk to a lender?"
No.
Always
No
assume
way.
yes. Take that whole sentence out and you just give them the answer. I will have Jamie call you tomorrow. Our mornings or afternoons better.
Yes.
You already put in their head that they said yes.
Yes.
So and it cuts down your time because your conversation is shorter. But if you always kind of assume the answer is yes, you just take it from there.
Yes.
They've already said yes. So you
Yes.
keep in your mind the assumptive sell, the assumptive yes, and you just take it from there.
And
I'd be happy to show you houses. Is 5 o'clock tomorrow okay?
yeah.
Not, are you available to go see houses
Yeah,
tomorrow?
yeah. And there was another piece you
Yes.
taught about that too that I remember, and I'm gonna take it back to when I worked at Old Navy. You know, when you're at the cash register and the cashier asks you, "Can I have your email?" Like that. First of all, that drives me crazy. First,
What do they
anyway,
need my email for?
that.
wanna
But
sign
I
me up for
learned
stuff.
during training at Old Navy to say, "What's your email?" instead of, "Can I have your email?"
Yeah,
So
don't
the
ask.
first time I ever heard, I didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I would get more emails when I would say, "What's your email?" versus asking for the email.
Yeah.
And then 3-4 years later, when I meet you and you're teaching me literally what the assumptive close is, I understood because I had done it, but
Yeah.
didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Another one that you taught me along those same lines was the how to ask the question where it's going to give you the open-ended answer.
Oh,
or
yeah.
So give them.
Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like this reversed. I'm interviewing
Yes.
you now. Give them the analogy and the way that you taught us that to know how to ask a client a question to dig deeper versus just getting the yes and the no.
Right. Oh my gosh, this is kind of deja vu. So this is something that I do with my agents that I want to partner with and that we've meshed well. And I let you guys into the tribe, but I'm going to share with you all my secrets, right? Because you're my tribe. Once you succeed, I succeed.
Yeah.
So when we are having a conversation with a prospect, if you could remember that if a sentence you're going to say starts with a D, it's a dead end. You're not.
That's it right there.
Do you want to buy a new home?
No.
Do you have availability tomorrow?
No.
Did you happen to see my email?
Yes.
When you have to start with the letter D, you're
Dead
going to
end.
get a one-word answer. It doesn't keep the conversation going.
So that's do, does,
did, didn't.
Okay.
Didn't you say you wanted to see homes?
No.
Right. There you go. So, really off the top of my head. So think of a W.
Yes.
It's wide open.
W is wide
open.
open.
D is a deadline. What is a good time for me to call you tomorrow?
Anytime in the afternoon.
When would you like to go see houses?
This weekend.
Great. This weekend is fine. Would you be open to, whatever? You're putting me
Yes.
on the spot here.
Yeah.
But if you have a W, it won't be a one-word close-in, dead-end conversation.
Yeah, there's more. There's more than just the yes and the no. And what you want to really do with the dead end is avoid the yes and the no.
Right.
Everything else opens it up to
Opens it up.
moving forward.
So W, wide open. So start your sentences. What would it mean to you to buy a new home?
Yes. When, where, why.
Why are you looking to sell your property?
Yeah, that's going to avoid the yes or the no,
Right.
and it's going to avoid the one-word answer.
And it's going to elaborate, and it's going to allow the prospect to give you more information so that then you can have another W starting sentence to elaborate and get more information.
Yeah, because then you still, even when they're answering you, you still want to say, okay, tell me a little more about that. And then you're going to even dig deeper.
I love that
The
one.
biggest one too is when you're in the middle of a transaction and you're getting resistance from the client. That's why I think it's important to know their why from the beginning, and their why, not the superficial why of I need to sell my house. Why do you need to sell your house? Because then in the middle of the transaction, when things are difficult, you have to bring that why back to the client.
Remind them.
Right? And then
Yes.
so when they're reaching hesitancy and you're like, okay, but what's going on? Well, I don't want that because it's tell me a little more about that. The first reason they give you is never the reason. When you say, tell me more, then you're praying for the diarrhea of the mouth and to hear what's really going on.
Yeah.
And that's the objection you tackle, or then that's why you bring them back to their why. So just know that when you ask an open-ended question, you're going to get more from the client. And even when they're answering you, still ask them, tell me a little more about that.
Right. Elaborate. And it's worked my entire career in sales, from my previous career in banking, even to my previous career in grocery store. I ran this is really going to age me. I ran the video department for a grocery store.
Before Blockbuster, girl.
We were the grocery store Blockbuster, yes. And we had sales goals that we had to meet. And I was like,
what? How many videos a week?
How many you rented? How many late fees you collected?
No,
yes.
man.
So I ran that for years.
That's hilarious.
And I would be promoted to bigger stores and get them their sales up. And I would be promoted to bigger stores, get their sales up, and then went into banking and love that life. And it is all about finding a solution for someone. And when you ask the right question with a W, it's going to be wide open. And if you start with a D, that was the easiest way. D, dead end. W, wide open.
Yep.
And I've memorized that, and I've shared that, and now I'm sharing it with you. So
that's crazy, because these are the legacies, right? We wonder what our legacies are going to be, and these are those pieces, right, that you learned 20 years ago. You had did you even have any idea that I still remember that?
Those? No.
No. The assumptive close, I think I talk about it a lot when I'm teaching, because it's so important.
And it's so easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get the client saying yes, then when the question they're supposed to say no to, because they've said yes 3 times already, they're saying yes to, right? Yeah. It's sales. It's still just, all sales too.
And I'm so glad that you remember that stuff. And
yeah, your words are not falling on deaf ears. Well, yeah, they're not.
I appreciate that.
I know. Even me too. Like I've been called the broken record before, because like when I'm in training and I'm teaching, like there's so many pieces that I repeat because it's so important. Like real estate, it's not easy, but it's simple, and it really is just an outline and the basics, and you have to fall into those
just
basics.
Keep doing it, rinse and repeat. Yep.
Yeah, and then customize it for each customer, right? Because what's going to happen is you can sell the same house 3 times, and it'll never be the same transaction. You can be with the same client and do 3 deals with them, and it'll never be the same. Nope. Like it's just not. So not to discourage anyone listening, but if you're coming into this industry and you don't like the unknown, or you have fear of this is not the industry for you. If you want a routine every day, this is not the industry.
If you want repetition,
this is not.
Because there is no 2 deals. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your precious time, and thank you so much for my surprise this morning.
You're welcome,
was really
Queen.
Sweet.
Me and Betsy are honored.
Made my day. We could probably turn this into 2.
Nice.
Michelle Ihabaro. And I made it a point to know how to pronounce your last name correctly, and I can spell it.
What?
I can spell it like there's no tomorrow.
Good.
Because it's a very unique name.
So the preparation went into my name and not into the episode? I'm kidding.
No. I meant like 6 years ago. I made it a point. How do you say this name? There's a lot of letters in there.
Yeah. Yes. And you had to, because you did one of our deals. You did one of our refis. So you ended up doing our Len stuff too with my husband.
Yeah. Yes. Ihabaro.
Yeah. Thank you, my
I
queen.
hope best I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, he'll be honored that you even tried. Yes,
IHEGBORROW.
Let's 1 R. Close.
BOROW.
There you go, Jamie. Let's
take that part
go.
Out, so. Anywho, thank you again so much for Michelle Ihabaro for joining us today on My Favorite Mortgage Podcast. We are streaming on all major platforms. We would love any feedback, ranking, rate us, make any comments. We could be reached at myfavemortgage@gmail.com. I am Jamie Booth, licensed loan officer here in Arizona and Texas. And Michelle Ihabaro, licensed realtor in Southern Arizona. We'd be happy to help you with your first home, your last home, and everything in between.
Yes.
And I hope you all have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.